everybody, how's it going?
Hey.
Start talking, Lex.
Yeah, don't put me on the spot like that. I mean, what am I going to say?
I don't know. Whatever you want.
Skull. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, rock on, everybody. All right, it's PDQ and
we're ready. We've been practicing, Shane and I. We were sitting drinking last night. That's how we were practicing. So
last night. I got in last night. Gwen and I flew in last night from Boston.
So you practiced on the plane
it's
all
so cool.
the way back.
I love having Gwen here.
Yeah.
Gwen is our most trusted advisor.
We love Gwen.
Yeah, Gwen. We would not
Gotta
be
kiss
here.
the gold ring.
We would not be here if it just weren't for Gwen. You know, she's poor thing has come out of retirement twice to help us out. To Gwen.
Hey, to Gwen.
Anyway. Yeah, we were at Business of Software. We got in fairly late.
Really?
So I looked at some of the questions that came in this morning. And
Time out. Whoa. You actually took time to prepare for this?
I
Instead
did.
of like shooting from the hip like
did.
always?
Let's do it.
Okay.
But then that being said, if you guys have questions, by all means, throw them down. And if we can't answer it, we'll take a shot.
Ooh, ask hard ones today, guys. I've got a sniffle.
Yeah, but if we can't answer them, we'll take two.
If we can't, yes.
If we can't answer them, we drink.
Yeah. It's called win-win, dude.
Ask easy ones. Scratch that. Go easy on us.
All right, go for it.
Kind of a first question today, kind of a softball question, but that's a good way to start out. Valerie B. would like to know, can you show us some of your custom tools, ones that you would recommend that we implement for those of us out here who might not even know what we would find useful?
No. Next question. Yeah,
No,
sure.
come on, Shane.
So,
show her your
and
tools, dude.
I asked, as you guys did,
Custom tools.
Charlie threw some good. Okay, yeah, go ahead and show Charlie's, and then I'll show some of ours. So, Charlie's saying here's some examples right here. Boy, Charlie, thank you for having us need to read. Running network discovery identifies devices that we cannot manage. Like, it's not a Windows operating system.
Yep.
We happens to be admin arsenal. So telephones and printers are examples. If an IP address answers a ping, but it's not in DNS, we don't have any idea what it might be. So try connecting to that IP with your browser, or in the so convenient custom tool named Web Connect. So here's how you would do this. What Charlie is talking about.
He writes like he talks.
I love Charlie.
I do too. Okay, so I hit Control Comma. Sorry, to go to Preferences. You guys should know this. You go to Preferences, File Preferences, but I like to hit Control Comma. And Custom Tools, which, by the way, we are modifying Custom Tools in a very soon to be released version of Inventory. We're going to modify Custom Tools quite a bit. So,
well, that's like throwing it out there. What are we going to do?
Now you wait and see.
Wait and
but
see.
For
It's like a teaser.
in this version, here's how you would do to do Charlie's thing. Pull that back up, will you? So I'm going to open it. We're going to define a custom tool in Preferences.
Will you bring that back up, Kelly? That question or that answer from Charlie?
No, not the question. There we go. So what he's doing is running a CMD /C, and then he's running. Oops, pardon. We're going to give this the name. This is Web Connect. It's whatever. It's what It's his name. You can call it whatever you want.
Tell me you didn't drink last night.
/C.
You're a little slow this morning.
Right, and then we'll do a start, and then he's going to. This will help to know if this device happens to have.
Port A, B,
yeah, kind of a web interface. Like a lot of printers will have that, and telephone, VoIP phones anyway. Don't do this on POTS. Okay, and then there's your variables. And one of the questions people have, well, how do I know which variables are out there? And as Lex loves to say, it's RTFM. We'll show you where that is.
Where that exists, yeah.
So we have a variable here.
What exactly does RTFM
We will discuss that over beer.
Bro, before we have an issue like last week when we forgot a backslash, you needed a quote there, buddy.
Mm-hmm. And then let's do this. We're going to do, just so you know, I'm going to hit F1, or you can click that little question mark. Using custom tools, that takes you right where you want to be, and these are the variables that we support. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
Sure, JJ.
You refuse to highlight.
If you want to give this a shortcut, obviously you can give it a shortcut like Control plus Alt plus whatever.
Yeah.
A system tool, that means that that you can run. That you don't have to have a target selected. There are times you want to do this. In this case, no, we want to have a target selected. And so that's what you would do. And then when you go out to a phone or another device that you have, remember there's a feature where you can have devices in inventory and then mark them as not scannable. But you can still find out what they are. You would run that tool. Here's one that I've got. I added PS logged on. I've been using the PS tools for years and years. Back when they were in NT internals and then sys internals. Microsoft bought them. Mark Rosanovich. Anyway, PS logged on. So I actually, whenever there's a new sys internal suite, I take it, copy those files into my Windows directory.
And that's on your console.
On my console. Yeah. You can also throw them out on the web somewhere. But in this case, this is to see all the logged on sessions of a computer. And notice I'm running a CMD exe with a /K, and the K means I want to open this command window and then
keep it open.
Keep it open. Then I run PS logged on, and the syntax is whack %target. That's our variable once again, because that says choose the computer that is selected. So if we went to, well, this one here, we are on Guinness. We don't want to run this on Guinness.
Do you want me to sing the alphabet for you?
We'll do Childs.
Childs, okay.
Run this on Childs. And I gave this, I think it was a Control-Alt-8. 8, thank you. Control-Alt-8 shortcut, so I can just hit Control-Alt-8. And there you go. Thank you. So that's another one. A lot of people have their favorite utilities. I actually built one years ago that I've always used. It's just so that I could, you know, if I want to open the registry on a target machine, there's Windows has never offered a way like with
easier remote way to do it.
Yeah, like you can go into I can come in here just to. Let's look at Butters. I can go to Butters, and we've got this manage with the MMC, right? Well, you can actually run that MMC, like we're doing here, and actually connect to that remote system using a command line. You can't do that with the registry. So I wrote a utility years ago to effectively just send some keystrokes to the target computer, and I call that, you know, remote registry. So
Are you going to make that available to anybody?
If you want it. It's only for English, because it looks at the file menu.
Ah, okay.
But if I wanted to go to, well, let's go to Childs, remote reg. Yeah, if you guys want that, I'll throw it out.
That's a great one, man. Remote registry there, Alt-9.
And all it will do is open the registry.
Run a few commands.
Let me run that again. Hopefully recentered.
Nothing centered.
Nothing. So spent all that time talking and no time centering this.
So it's just really quick. It just enters that in there. Now I have access to Childs.
Yep.
So nice. Yeah, if you guys want that, but the point for custom tools is, you know, what do you use out there? What can how can you integrate it with PDQ Inventory? Other remote control systems. Obviously, we natively will support VNC. So you can use, if you use VNC instead of remote desktop for your remote control, you can configure that within your within inventory natively. But let's say you use other remote control tools like IntelliAdmin or Dameware. These all support command line initiation of remote control,
which we can kick off for you.
There's videos out there for that. So that, yeah, if you can launch something via a command line, then you can usually make a custom tool out of it. So hopefully that answers the question, Valerie.
That was a very long answer.
Dearest Shane and Lex, is there a way in PDQ Inventory to pull a report on programs that have been uninstalled in the last 7 days, tolerating you, Ed J?
Oh, Ed.
Hey, Ed.
Hey, buddy. No, we don't.
We don't keep history like that.
Yeah, we don't have historical data. Our inventory takes a scan anytime it's run, you know, kind of the state of that computer, so you can see what's installed. You uninstall something and rescan it. That something, if it was successfully uninstalled, will just no longer show up.
Now, kind of a workaround, you can obviously run the report every 7 days, keep copies of it, and then use comparison tools to find out what's different.
And you can also run reports on if you uninstalled something from within PDQ Deploy, like you have an uninstall package. You can say, hey, how many machines successfully received this, uninstalled Java? But no, we don't track the historical data.
It just becomes very, very cumbersome.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that separates us from the really, really big boys. But another thing that separates us from the really, really big boys are the number of zeros in our price.
Good call there.
Zeros on the correct side of the decimal point.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got?
What else?
I have a question from Chris S. In inventory, it seems like a heartbeat will never resolve for several computers. They just keep spinning and spinning with an online status of yes, although I'm fairly certain they are offline. Scans, pings, VNC attempts will fail. Is there a way to cancel a heartbeat, or are they doomed to limbo of supposedly online, but not really?
All right, so this most likely is... I really want you, Chris, to look in the event log to see if there's a problem. The event log on your console computer, see if there's a problem trying to resolve to that machine.
Yeah.
But it's probably being kept in limbo. Like here's the example. If you can see this, go ahead and show the desktop and zoom in if you don't mind. I'll go to Cake. If you can you zoom in anymore? So I'm going to hit Control H, and that's going to do a quick
Heartbeat.
a heartbeat, yeah. Now let's see. This may be Doken here. You can see that little spinning right there. That's probably what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's showing is on.
This machine exists in DNS. It doesn't exist anywhere else at this point.
What I would do is close your console and reopen it. That should flush that out. If that doesn't flush that out, then go to your preferences and go to your background service and just stop that service.
Yep.
Once it's done, go ahead and close. Even you can start the service again, but I would just close the console and then reopen the console. When you open up either Deploy or Inventory, it will start the background service if it's not currently running, or more appropriately, it will try to start that up.
Yep.
By doing one of those things, that should clear that out, and you shouldn't see that. If you still see that, definitely look in your event log and send us a bug. Open up a ticket.
Yeah.
All right. There's something most likely in the computers table in inventory that is
Maybe causing some
yeah.
issues
There's actually a heartbeat table or a heartbeat column within the computers table, and that there's a date that if that date value is null, then you might be getting that.
Yeah.
So.
Our next question is from Justin. He's breaking the unidirectional nature of the time-space continuum and wants us to look into the future of PDQ. What are we excited about in the future? What's something new that's coming up or something that is being revamped?
As we speak, you don't know this, but it's kind of we've alluded to it, but under the under the hood, if
Yes.
you will. Yeah, we are separating the background service from the console. That's one of the reasons why the last version of the console, you see something like this in both of our products, where you see the background service and you see console users.
Yeah.
What this is going to allow us to do ultimately is have an offering. I haven't nailed down the specifics yet, but have an offering, the ability to have a centralized database server.
Yeah.
So multiple consoles connecting to
Single
that.
database. Yep.
And we talked about this. It is in the works. It's just this is a multi-stage approach of having an optional agent.
I like that. Optional. You hit
Yeah,
that
well,
hard.
the agent will always be optional. We like the fact, and most of our customers like the fact that we don't have an agent. But by not having a dedicated agent that runs, consistently as a service, there's some features that make it hard to implement.
Very, very difficult. Yes.
Yeah, like our heartbeat schedule, where a computer changes from offline to online in inventory. We use that as a trigger to say, oh, maybe it's time to deploy.
Yep. An
agent would really help, because the agent come up and say, hey, is there anything waiting for me?
What's available? Yeah.
So agent and a dedicated server, those are two really, really, really big things that you're going to be seeing here. But once
Also,
again, agent is optional.
I've been pushing really hard to get that button and to shock the end user at the other end of the machine. I'm telling you, that would be awesome. Bad, bzz, you shock.
It's just such a tool.
Yeah.
Longtime listener, first-time caller Nathan B. would like to know, is there a way to have a setup for 3 admins with PDQ Deploy and Inventory where the inventory database can be shared? We don't want each machine running a scan of our network.
Hey Nathan, we do have features for that now. Like the question before, what are you excited for? This kind of centralized server that we're working towards. That will help that. What you're going to want, if you have 3 admins and they each have an inventory database set up, is you're going to want to use scan caching.
Yep.
Now, the issue with scan caching, or the requirement, I should say, is that all these consoles have to have the same computers in their inventory. That's important. And if you have an enterprise license, 3 different licenses, each console will activate that license. We have videos on that, but
You have to register those.
in preferences, in preferences, under scanning, there is an area for scan caching, where you can basically say, let's say, there's a bunch of different options. You got, in this case, you have 3 different separate consoles. You could say, all right, everybody, when you scan a computer, just check to see if it's been scanned in the last X number of hours or days. And if it has, let's say you had your scan cache set to 6 hours. And so, Nate scans a computer that was just scanned an hour ago. That data would come from the scan cache as opposed to hitting that target computer again. There's videos out there for that. You have to have, all the consoles have to point to the same file share. It's a UNC file share that contains that SQLite database. But yeah, there's a way to do that now. And of course, ultimately, if we can get to that shared
Centralized
database, that would also resolve that. But scan caching is what you want to look for.
Yep.
Dear Shane and Lex, what is the best way to use inventory to find local admins? Rick S.
Hi, Rick. Okay, so when I read this, I could see 2, because I saw this when I came this morning.
Different options there of how to do it.
You might be asking one of 2 questions. So I quickly wrote a report for both. Are you asking, do you want to find out which domain accounts have local administrative privileges, or are you asking for, I want to know which
Every machine has
a local account that is an administrator?
Yeah.
So there's ways to do that. I created a custom report, a new folder in my reports called custom. And here's 3 reports that I threw out there. One shows you domain accounts in the administrator's local group. I'm going to right-click and define this. And what I'm showing in the columns tab, I'm saying show me the computer name, and then this is where some confusion comes in. You have a couple of different options here. You have a local group table, and you have the local group member. In the case of where you're trying to look at members, I would recommend just going to the local group member. So here I'm saying, show me the group in local group member. That's the group name. In this case, it would be administrators. The domain of the account, and the name of the account, whether it's a group in Active Directory or whether it's a user account. But in the filters, notice this little hierarchy here. Saying, first of all, the local group member equals the local group member name, the group is administrators. We're going to look at administrators. And the local group member, whatever's in there, is not a local account. So I said local is false. Local is a Boolean value. It's true or false.
Yep.
So by saying false says I don't care about local accounts. I just want to know about domain accounts. And then I have underneath that I have another group filter that says not any. And that means it removes some extra noise. Like we know domain admins might be in there. We have an account called QA. It's a group.
Yep, a group. It has local admin rights on those. We know that.
We're expecting that. What you're looking for are outliers. So basically, by doing not any and then say local group member name equals, just list the ones that you
don't want to see.
Yeah, that you know are in there and you just want to remove the noise. So I'm going to run this. And I made this a little smaller so you don't see the full account. But these are the accounts that are in the Deadwood domain that have administrative rights. These are domain accounts. You can see that right there. Once again, by removing these, by filtering these out, you cut down on the noise because once again, I know that domain admins and QA are going to be in there. By the way, you could also do this if you want with just one filter down here using regular expressions.
Now you got all fancy on them, did you?
Yeah, just so you know, this is the same thing. Administrators, false, and local group member name does not match the expression. And then I
This or
actually
this or
have
this or this or this.
I use regular expressions. So the caret means that's the beginning of the string. The pipe is an or. So this is just saying, you know, the name is not domain admins, count operators, QA, enterprise admins, etc.
Yep.
You can do that with one line if you want to use a regular expression. That yields the same results. All right. And then but if you're talking about the other way, I want to know just local accounts. Somebody, you have an engineer out there that requires local administrative rights, and you're like, okay, I know he's got local admin rights, or you're afraid that somebody may have surreptitiously created a local account. I'm going to right-click on this and say Define Report. Local accounts administrators. It's kind of the same way, except for the local group member. Local is true. That means it's a local account. And don't show me administrator. We have an account here called Vincent for our lab machines.
Yep.
That's a local administrator because the administrator account is disabled.
Yep.
So Vincent, don't show us Vincent. I'm going to run that report. And these are non-domain accounts that have administrative rights on these machines. So the machine and those accounts. Cool? Hopefully that answers your question. If you want us to send you those reports, let us know and we'll be happy to
We
make
can
those
put an
available.
XML out there for you.
My man Larry G would like to know, how does the wake on Lan PowerShell step work? Is there a script we need to use to utilize that step?
The wake on Lan PowerShell script. So we have the wake on
PowerShell step, right?
Okay, yeah.
So if you don't run a wake on
We
LAN-
have wake on LAN.
No, is this an inventory when you can run a command or a
I'm not
PowerShell
quite sure.
command and there's a wake on LAN there? I think that might be
We
it.
have the ability in deploy.
Do a remote command on one of these guys in inventory, real quick.
Well, he's saying PowerShell step. That tells me that he's talking about deploy.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Okay.
Both of our products support wake on LAN. But there's a global setting. I'm going to hit this, go to preferences, and in the offline settings, under deployments panel, if you see the send wake on LAN to offline computers, if you have that checked, then when you do a deployment, that will, if the machine is offline, then it will send a wake on LAN. That's not a PowerShell.
We don't have that in a step, right? That's just...
There's a PowerShell step. That's why I'm not quite sure what he's talking
Here,
about.
pop up inventory really quick. We went over this last week, and this is what I remember from there, is do a command, like a remote command.
Chris isn't here, otherwise we'd phone a friend.
And if you PowerShell, wake on LAN.
Okay, so so if you're talking about PDQ inventory, using the word step instead of remote command, we added wake on LAN in remote commands. Now, wake on LAN's always been available in inventory from day one. That's Control-Alt-W. Yeah, sorry.
That's a lot too much.
There's a wake on. There we go.
So you look in
There's
the
a wake on
monitor
LAN.
right
If I want to run a command, now this works whether you're on PowerShell or on CMD.
Yeah, so it's independent of the two.
Yeah, we just use the same functionality that we've got in the past, which is if the computer's offline, then we initiate the wake on LAN sequence. And the wake on LAN sequence is actually, I believe it's 9 different packets that we send out. Because
Jason just posted a...
Good. Yeah, there's a link. There's a link to it on
put that
how
in the
we do
description.
wake on LAN. So whether it's PowerShell or CMD on your remote command, if the computer's offline, we'll just attempt to wake it up. You obviously, wake on LAN has a lot of external dependencies.
You gotta have your BIOS set up. You gotta allow it through the network. I mean, it's
Yeah, if your routers are filtering out broadcasts, we have ways around that. So we do directed broadcasts as well.
Did we build a hack? Is that what you say? I love
Punch you. And then the last thing that we'll do, because there's a lot of environments that will say block all broadcasts at the router, even directed. Directed is an easier sell for your networking department to say, I want to do a directed broadcast. We're only going to hit this subnet.
specific. Yep.
The subnet where the target list lives. But if that doesn't work, the final thing that we do, all behind the scenes, is if we see a computer offline, we attempt to find an online computer in that subnet and then have the
that
wake on
machine.
LAN send that out, and that circumvents the router issue. But I hope that answered your question. We don't have a native PowerShell wake on LAN
step.
The Wacom LAN is native to both programs, regardless of the step that you're using.
Yep.
Next question from Chad B. I have enterprise licenses for 4 admins for PDQ Deploy and Inventory. Is there a way to share and manage preferences across the PDQ apps, such as target filters, custom tools, variables, etc.?
Yeah. Okay. We don't. So it's some, and like the target filters, you're going to need to just set those up for each one. And if you're using target filters, I'm kind of impressed. But very few people actually do that. I'm going to go to deploy the target filter and preferences. This is, target filters. This is where you have exclusions and inclusions. Let's say that you have a bunch, like Chris has a bunch of computers here that he runs a lot of his tests on. If I don't ever want to deploy to those, he has a naming convention that he follows that begins with like TE. So you could do a TE splat.
And then
add the
exclude
filter.
any of those, yep.
If you try to deploy to a computer that has a name that begins with TE, it's gonna fail, saying this failed because it didn't match. It was filtered out.
Yep.
You can also exclude subnets using this. No, you can't. That's gonna be something that you're just gonna have to kind of set individually.
Yeah, there's really no way to transfer that data back and forth.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Take a screenshot with your phone and go build them.
One thing you can do, there's kind of a workaround for if you have a lot of custom variables. If you have variables and then you create collections and reports that reference those variables and you import them into another machine, to another console, it should automatically populate those variables. It should. It's a snapshot in time, so it wouldn't sync up. You change the value of the variables after that in one, you need to change it in the other.
Yeah.
Hopefully as we progress with this centralized server, that would be resolved. But for right now, it's just kind of having to keep in sync manually, and I apologize for that.
Good question, though.
It's a great question.
Dear Shane and Lex, would it be possible to alter an auto-deployment package such as Google Chrome? Basically, I want to be able to turn off the disable auto update portion since we manage it with group policy. Nate B.
Hey, Nate. At this point, no. There are certain things you can do.
You can do a step after it.
Yeah, you can do. There are certain things you can do with
but-
auto deployment. With auto deployment, you can do pre and post, but you can't change the actual content.
Yeah.
There's a lot of debate about that. We went back and forth.
This becomes very difficult for us to take into every consideration that you might do with the change.
Plus we're delivering something essentially automatically. Yes, you're the one who has to approve it or set up your auto approval, but when this, we test our packages to a degree, obviously, make sure that they run silently, and we do basic functionality. So when we put out a Chrome, we're fairly confident that Chrome works. To start allowing steps to be changed during auto deployment, it was difficult for us to implement that and still maintain that. Well, we don't.
We know this portion of it.
So as far as auto deployment, if you really want to turn that off, what you're really left with is importing that Chrome package, creating a schedule, and then just deleting that step or disabling that step each time you import that, and then replace that step or that package in the
I guess you could do a post step, like a command, and go re-enable it.
Re-enable it, yeah, I guess you could. A little kludgy, but
Yeah.
at this point, no. Not with auto deployment.
Question from David S. Is there a way to force workstations to VPN in if they have internet connectivity so PDQ can scan/install to them?
I don't know.
That's
depends on the.
Could you do that with a GPO and a script?
Well, if they're on VPN, they're probably remote.
Well, and then you got issues with DNS, and you got registries.
So many different VPN solutions.
There's a lot of moving
So yeah,
parts
what I think you're talking about is you've got a laptop and a traveling salesman or something like that is out in a hotel, connects to the Wi-Fi, and what you want to do is say no. You have to force that on
at midnight.
There's probably configuration settings like you mentioned the GPO that would be set when they're in the office that would only force internet connectivity through the VPN. There's probably ways of doing that. It's going to vary.
Can't do it through PDQ.
Yeah,
currently.
Well, he's talking about just so that they can connect to the VPN, so PDQ.
That's a good point.
That's really a question for the VPN vendor, whatever software you use, and how you can force internet connectivity through that. That I don't know. I'll still take a drink.
Hey, we'll drink to that.
Yeah, cheers.
Oh, I'm empty.
Well, the solution, you've got a bunch right there.
I got 3 bottles.
And as you're drinking, the lovely Monica makes her triumphant return.
Hey, Monica.
Will there ever be a feature where one of the licensed admins can update inventory and deploy for all other admins so that the shared databases are always on the same version?
Well, you can use PDQ Deploy to silently install PDQ Deploy and Inventory out. You grab your installation, and it's the I believe it's /s, and that will So yeah, Monica, you're the main console, and you've got 3 other people that you want to update. You can deploy out there to them using
Deploy.
Deploy.
Yes, deploy with deploy.
Yeah, /s, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, it's not often that you want to deploy your silent deployment software, but that's the way to do it if you really want. And then when they start up, it will then upgrade the database and stuff like that. So wrap it up. All right. Good questions.
I've had a good day of drinking. I mean, good questions.
I'm sure there's quite a few that we didn't get to, and apologies for that.
That was it? Wow.
Well, I remember one about.
There were a couple more.
I do remember one that I have to check. It was some Office 365, a new deployment method that you can create an MSI or.
We'll
something.
try to answer that offline.
I haven't. I've done 365 deployments, and we're using the Microsoft deployments facility, obviously, and then you have your Office customization toolkit for the non-365. But what he was mentioning, I don't know.
That's anyway.
Anyway, hey, thanks for watching, you guys. If you have any questions, again, please. Throw them out. Send them to us. They'll give you the address, and we'll
Appreciate you guys watching and
back over
drinking
to-
with us if you
Hey,
can.
welcome back, Annie,
Hey,
from
Annie,
from maternity leave. Welcome back.
when you bringing your kid in? We haven't seen her yet.
This is not a kid-friendly zone.
That is a good point.
About.
That is a good point.
Don't bring the kid in.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for joining us today. Big congratulations going out to Rick S. and Larry G., winners of PDQ Swag. Send us an email at webcast@adminarsenal.com. We'll get that sent out to you. As always, if you have any additional questions, feel free to post them up on our forums. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you back here next week.